Alright, Sean here with the number 314 yellow Miata that races in the 24 Hours of Lemons. This video we're just going to go over a very quick overview of the live stream setup on the car. I've been trying to make videos on this for, well, the better part of a year now, and they keep getting too complex. So this one is going to be a bit more improvised, so I apologize on any unorganized thoughts, but let's just get right to it. So many of you are familiar with the live stream that we put on YouTube. That live stream consists of three different sort of like subsections. You have the live stream video that comes from the car. Then we also have the telemetry data, which is also being transmitted from the car but through different radio protocols. And then lastly, we have the radio from like the flag net for all the corner workers and race control. So all those three things are merged into the final stream that you view on YouTube, but they are all separate systems coming through the car or through the paddock. So what we're looking at here is simply the system for the video that we send from the car. So the car has something like 8 cameras now. It might even be more. Some of them are being replaced with better cameras, but ultimately we have, you know, some forward-facing cameras. This is actually a new one that we're putting on for the Race at Road America. We used to use one that was behind the windshield. It's hard to see there, but yeah, there it is. So unfortunately the picture was not great since the windshield has just a whole bunch of, you know, small rock chips over the years. So anyways, wanted to get a camera that was sort of outside, and then we might put some sort of tear-offs on it to be able to quickly clean it. Anyways, so we have cameras all around the car. We also have a driver cam here on the B pillar. We've got another one on the A pillar right here. And so just different shots of the driver, which is pretty cool. There's also a pedal cam, which we definitely like watching. And then we have a rear facing camera, a couple of them. There is another camera there that's used for a backup camera for the driver. That's primarily utilized in the 24-hour races. But one of these cameras is going to be replaced with this slightly better IP camera. Lastly, there is another camera that is actually inside the wheel well. You can see the infrared LEDs right there. And just another cool shot. So all these cameras are IP network cameras, and they're power over Ethernet, PoE, as you might see advertised. And they all connect to this network switch right here. With the one exception of the pedal cam, which is a USB camera, so it plugs directly into our mini PC on the car here. This is running Linux, and on that PC it's running OBS. So everything basically gets pulled into OBS on this computer and is merged into one image. So that's why you see we have several different, you know, like picture-in-picture sort of setups, and that's all defined in OBS that's running on this computer. So to transmit that stream data, that video data, that goes to the modem. This is a PepWave BR1 modem. It goes to a multi-in, multi-out antenna, a MIMO antenna, which is on top of the car, which is this guy right here. And that simply just connects to the internet through the cell network, Verizon specifically. So it's got a Verizon SIM card in there with a 150 gigabyte plan, which is the biggest plan you can get from them. Then the rest of this down here, these are just power supplies. It's basically go from the 12 volts or 13 volts DC from the car, and then, you know, through a couple of these transformers basically to bring it up to the required DC voltages for like the network switch, because that's around like 54, 56 volts. The computer, I want to say, is around 19 volts. So that's all those are. And then this tube right here is simply for cooling. It just brings in cool air from outside to try and keep, you know, it not miserably hot in here for all the electrical components. So also one thing to mention, we do have audio from the car. There's a condenser mic that is kind of by the dash and the gauges, and that comes into the computer here through this connection. So that's how we're able to get some good car audio. So that's the video portion of the stream. The telemetry data that you see on the stream, you know, the graphs of the brake pressure, throttle percentage, all that fun stuff, that's actually coming from our system that we have lovingly named Telemetry. So Jeff built this from the ground up. Basically, it's loosely based in an Arduino, but there's a whole bunch more going on there. And that connects to the car's computer, via OBD2, and then we also have a whole bunch of separate sensors that don't even run through the ECU that are all around the engine. So water pressure sensors, temp sensors, oil temp sensors, water pump RPM sensors, a whole bunch of stuff. So that is all sent back to the paddock through a separate radio connection, so not through the cell network, but rather through LoRa. Any of you radio guys are familiar with LoRa. So that's how the telemetry system communicates with us in the paddock. We have different versions of software. A more robust version of the software that kind of use all the data measures was built by another team member, Tyler. So we run that on a computer in the paddock, and then I wrote some simpler software to display the data that is seen on the live stream. So that is the second portion of the live stream, which is, the data capture, and that's what telemetry does for us here. Lastly, the radio audio that you hear on the stream that connects to the FlagNet is actually brought in through our repeater box, which is this guy right here. It's running a stack of 3 Motorola radios, and these radios run through a duplexer, and then it runs through a repeater controller, which is at the bottom of this box, and that allows us to listen to the FlagNet, but it also allows us to talk to our own team without, of course, interfering with the FlagNet. So if the FlagNet is talking on a lot of radio setups, you can't actually talk over them, even if you're just monitoring their frequency, because the receiving radios won't be able to actually know that your own team member is transmitting. So that's what the repeater controller and the duplexer do in this case, and this stack of 3 Motorola radios. So it's a decently complex radio setup that's gotten improvements over time, but this connects to a nice large antenna that we have up in the paddock, and it provides fantastic coverage around most tracks that we go to. Road America, it is a little bit touchy in kettle bottoms, but we're dealing with so much greenery and elevation changes, it's a hard thing to deal with. So anyways, we take the radio audio from the repeater controller, also something that Jeff built from the ground up, and we pull the audio from that, and that goes through a mixer USB audio interface, which then goes into my laptop, and that gets merged into the live stream. So that kind of brings us to basically the topic of, okay, I told you that we send this video to the internet. What happens at that point? Well, I have another very similar situation with a PepWave BR1 modem that is a paddock side, and that connects to a ASUS Wi-Fi router, and then I connect my laptop to that, and I pull the stream down from the internet from the car, because that's going to a virtual private server through RTMP. I bring that into OBS running on my laptop, and then that's where I bring in also the telemetry data using the software that we wrote for that. And then we also merge the radio audio at my laptop as well. And then from my laptop, that gets pushed directly to YouTube. And then that's where you actually view the stream. I know that was a really, really quick and dirty and unorganized overview, but hopefully this at least inspires some of you about what you can do with a live stream setup. I don't want to say this is incredibly complex. It's way more complex than it really needs to be. If you just want to do one camera, doing the whole cell phone thing as a Wi-Fi hotspot can work. I wanted something that was a bit more robust, something that I could trust a bit more. Not to say there haven't been problems with it that we've had to kind of work through. There's a whole bunch of details about this system as far as certain scripts that are running on the Linux computer and how to properly take in the feeds in OBS, but it really gets down into the weeds. Anyways, this is what's possible, and you're not really limited by the amount of cameras. You can see this 8-port network switch is full. So we've got a lot of cameras in this car, which is really just a lot of fun. Definitely doesn't make the car go faster, but it makes it more fun. Well, hopefully that was a good enough overview for everyone. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Until then, we hope to see a lot of you at Road America in under a week. See you there.